All right, you need to watch this video to the end, not just part of it, all of it. Why? Because it's all about you. This video is about you. The words I am are two of the most powerful words in the English language. It's all about your identity. In this video, I will talk about how saying I am statements can either help you or hurt you, and how to know the difference and what to do about it. And of course, as always, not always, but as usual, I will have homework at the end to help you improve your results using your I am statements. Now, in our current culture, I know this whole thing about identities. We hear people talk about, I identify as fill in the the blank. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what is out there about you, okay? Your identity. And it has nothing to do with what we hear in the news and culture right now. What I'm talking about here is the I am statements that will facilitate your goals, your purpose, your destiny. Okay? These are things that you can do that help you get along that course and get to where you want to go. Now, for reference for you Bible study folks, in Exodus 3:14, God said to Moses through the burning bush, I am who I am. So it's a biblical concept as well. Okay, this practice of self-talk or affirmations has been taught and recommended for various reasons from different teachers, from different books, but here are some of the examples. Affirmations will help with your self-esteem, your goals, sales and elevator pitches, changing and improving your identity, who you want to be, who you want to become, your mental health, etc. Give you some examples. For like self-esteem, you can have an I am statement that says, I am worthy. Personal growth, I am a lifelong learner. I am a lifelong learner. Goal alignment, I am capable. I am the best. Excuse me, on and on. They are always said in the present tense. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but you're talking about future things. You're not there yet, possibly. You're doing it in the present tense because you're bringing it into your current life. I've heard it said like this, and I may not have the exact words right, because the first time I heard this was years ago, and I don't remember what it is, but I know it's 3 parts. In order to get there, I must say that I am there before I am there. That's that whole thing of talking about future things with present tense language, okay? You're getting your subconscious and your conscious in line with where you want to go, who you want to be. Now, I am a true believer in this because when I first learned this concept, it was driven in my head, and I still hear it today, but I'm understanding now there's some people that don't think this is exactly how it works, but I'm all for using positive words, okay? What you want to be, not what you don't want to be. So for instance, like, I am not overweight. A better way to say that, because you don't want to use the word not, and you don't want to say what you don't want to be, overweight. You may want to use words like lean. I am lean instead of I am not overweight, or I am wealthy as opposed to I am not poor. Again, because the subconscious mind doesn't grasp the negativity of that. It doesn't hear the word overweight and not together, meaning that you're lean. Get what I'm saying? Anyhow, so try to use the positive words, what you want to be. Don't say what you don't want to be. Let's see here, positive words. Look at my notes here for a second. So yeah, use words that you want, not the words you don't want, okay? Intentionality, okay? By doing I am statements. You are being intentional about your self-talk, not accidental. We use I am statements in affirmations, and we are intentionally trying to bring about positive change in our lives. And I'm all in for that. I really am. So if you can, be as intentional as you can about what you say to yourself, whether it's out loud like I'm talking now or in your mind. Unintentional. Now, we do a lot of I am statements, a lot of self-talk, and we're not even aware of it. Okay, so we don't want to reinforce the things that are going to hurt us. We want to reinforce the things that are going to help us. Now, some of these things can really sabotage our progress. For example, you get frustrated, make a mistake, and say to yourself, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? Or I'm never going to get this. You're in school, you're trying to learn a new concept or a new skill, and you're just frustrated. Catch yourself. Don't allow yourself to say those things. Don't say you're stupid. Don't say you're not going to get it. Another thing, who do I think I am when you're trying something new? It's so far out of what you're used to. You don't feel like you're the right person, you're smart enough, or you're skillful enough, or you're not something enough to do that. Don't let that in. Reverse it. Say positive. I am the person who can do this. Or, you've been trying several diets in your lifetime and you're overweight and you just want to give up. I'm doomed to be fat. Okay, I am doomed. You do not want to repeat that in your mind. You don't want to feed that kind of negativity to yourself. No one in my family is a doctor. Who am I kidding? You're going to say, go to school and achieve more than any of your family members. And that's a whole different video, but there's issues with that as well, because systems, homeostases, things like to pull things back to where it is to have the balance. And if you're going out on a limb to do something that not even anyone in your family has come close to, you're going to get some pullback. But you don't want it in your head, okay? No one in your family is a doctor, doesn't mean you can't be one. So things like that, you can think more of them, I'm sure. Sources. Where do these negative things come from? I call them weed seeds because they're things that either we plant in our heads or others do, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So I call them weed seeds. You don't want them in there. You want them out. You want the good stuff in there. Could be parents. Your parents could say something like that to teach you to say things over and over again, whether you say it out orally or, consciously in your head. Teachers can do that. Teachers, your peers, priests. If you're one of the kids that tend to get in trouble a lot or make a lot of mistakes for whatever reasons, and someone says you just ain't getting it, don't buy into it. But that's where those things got to come from. They got to come from early childhood. They could come from your college professors. They could come from family members. And they can come from yourself, okay? It could be in the guise of trying to be humble. You don't want to stand out. You don't want to look like it's all about you. So you say things to be somewhat self-deprecating. You got to stop that. Just let it go. Just let it go. We can be our worst critic, and we tend to be, and we are. So we need to take care of ourselves and protect ourselves from ourselves. Okay, so now we got all that. So let's talk about some homework here, because I want you to do the things you need to do to get yourself talk on the right track. Get your I am statements doing the right thing, okay? So we try to encourage positive practices like the affirmations, things like that. But I've also noticed, and in myself as well, I still do it. We tend to do things that are self-defeating, whether consciously or unconsciously. We'll get in front of the mirror in the morning, either have something stuck to the mirror or something we read or something we practice in our head. We do our affirmations, okay, every morning, just like our teacher, our coach told us, read these things and say them out loud several times, okay? You do that, and then you leave home all pumped up, ready to kick ass and take names, but you get back into your old environment, work, school, whatever. And so things start to trigger you back to where you were, where it's comfortable. Maybe I should just say familiar. It may not be comfortable, but you go back to your old ways. And you forget about saying your affirmations throughout the day, whether silently to yourself or out loud. And by the end of the day, you're tired and self-defeated. I mean, you are back to square one, okay? So this homework I have for you is basically something you can do to break the cycle of the negative self-talk. And it sounds easy. It really is. On paper, it's easy, but practice is difficult, and it is practice. You got to do it over and over. Just like you do any new skill, you have to keep doing it so you don't go back to the old way. So your old you doesn't come out, and a year from now, you're in the same place. You're a year older, you haven't accomplished your goals, you're still making the same amount of money, whatever it is, okay? So what you're saying and thinking really matters. So for the next week, commit right now. For the next week, at least a week. You probably want to want more than that, but I just want you to try it for a week. Look over your results. See how it's changed you or what you think about what you're doing. It's like, wow, I wasn't aware I'm doing that. Or it's like, oh yeah, that's old hat, whatever. Be mindful of your I am statements. What you say out loud and what you think in your head. Write them down. And trust me, you probably have more than you can write down because we're constantly saying I am about things, okay? Now remember, this is all about you, okay? You don't need to share it with anybody. You don't need to share it with me. You don't need to share it with family, friends, coworkers, whatever. It's none of their damn business. Only share it if you want to, okay? Now, this is the next level. Now, I just got through saying you don't need to share it. However, you may want to enlist family, friends, coworkers, etc., to help you out. And what I mean by that is let them know it's like, hey, I'm really struggling. I'm trying with my self-talk. I'm trying to clean things up so I treat myself better, so I feel better about myself. Can you do me a favor? When I'm around, when you hear me say the words I am followed by whatever, can you write that down? So either have them at the end of the day or the end of the week, whatever, give you that list. And you may find out there's a lot that you say that you're not aware of. We say stuff a lot about ourselves to ourselves that's very unconscious. We don't really choose the words, it's just habits. So anyhow, they can write it down for you to help you improve it. And just say whatever you want, the reason why you're doing it. You can be just like, this is a stupid exercise my college professor asked me to do for class. So if you could, I appreciate that. And be very careful who you select. Make sure you select people you could trust, that will be honest and won't mess with you. Okay? Say things that you didn't say or just to mess with you. You know who I'm talking about. Okay, so be mindful of your self-talk. Now, when you're mindful of it, you're going to think about what you just said. Okay? When you have one of that is counterproductive, correct yourself right away. You don't have to make a big deal out of it, stand up and yell it out. And it's like, no, I didn't mean that. You can say it in your head. We have that conversation with ourselves all the time. We constantly have a self-talk thing going on. So, say things like, that's not true, and say it the way it should be. So like you say, I'm an idiot. You know what? I keep screwing this up. No, it's just like, I'm struggling right now. I may need some help. I'm smart enough to do this. I know I can do this. I am something positive. Replace it with something positive, enhancing statements. Be good to you. I used to say that a lot to friends. Be good to you. Practice this exercise periodically to help you stay on course. I don't know if I put this in a video or not, but I know I've had it in my classes. When I was a psych major, I developed a theory of personality. And it's the tree ring theory. And you know how when you cut a tree, you cut through the main part of the plant, the trunk, and you see the rings every year that makes another ring. Well, I have this theory that when something stressful happens or trauma happens, it's like putting a nail into the side of the tree. That nail goes down to the other rings. And so the same thing happens in life. We go back to where we used to be, whether it's a trauma or old habits, whatever. We don't want to do that, okay? So do this for a week, and if that's good enough for now, just quit it, stop it. And then go on your calendar, mark a day, some like a month later, a couple of months later, every quarter, whatever, and practice this again. Because I can guarantee, because that's the nature of the beast, us humans, that we tend to go back to our old ways. And so do it again. For one thing, see how you improved. I mean, you may notice your self-talk is a lot better than it was 6 months ago. Or it's like, hey, I've gone back to square one. I got to really practice this stuff. Okay, so practice it periodically. And like a video I just did recently is the 5 closest people to you, okay? It said you are the average of the 5 closest people you deal with on a daily basis. And that's true, good and bad. That's why you need to be very careful who you have those people in your life. Sometimes you don't have much of a choice whether it's a work group. It could be assigned, like a class exercise, whatever, or a work group at work, or family. Those are things that are harder to change. But, when you are trying to work on this and you find somebody in that 5, or that someone who's close to you who tends to be on the negative side with their I am statements, or negative on how they treat other people, you may want to get some distance, some time away from them. Because here's the thing, is that when you go in environments, you tend to be somewhat of a chameleon. You tend to pick up that vibe. And like for me, for instance, the last couple of years, I've been working really hard on my cursing. Not trying to perfect it, trying to stop it. In my adult life, I'm pretty good with the 4-letter words, and I really want to stop that. Now, for the most part, I'm pretty good. Most people I'm with, I don't do it very often. But I tell you, there are groups of people that I deal with periodically that is their mode of communication. And trust me, within seconds, it'll pull me right back in. The same thing with I am statements. You want to be around people that are going to be enhancing, supportive of wherever you want to go with your self-talk. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with people you think the video might help. I really appreciate that, because I really do want to help as many people as I can. So if you didn't get any of these things, you can either leave me a message, down below, and I'll get back to you ASAP. I will answer your question if I can, or I'll let you know if I can't. And yeah, rewind it and play it again. But anyhow, this is about you. Remember, it's about you. This is your little gift from me. You're going to hold it up and work on your I am statements, because I am here to help. And when you say I am followed by whatever, that is going to be your identity. So let's make it the best we can, all right? So until next time, God bless, and do your I ams. Take care. Bye-bye.